Hey guys, I am Big and Scary. I'm bringing you another StarCraft 2 replay. This is Game 4 featuring NoN-eSports ClanWar against WeWannaWinClan. And this is Game 4. Game 3 featuring ReasN. In our top left-hand side, our very high Masters level Terran. He's top 15-ish on the EU server. And from Clan WeWannaWin is Temnotal. I'm going to go with Tim for him, just because it's easier, it rolls off the tongue, and since this is Terran versus Protoss, things could get hectic. Things could get hairy. Things could get very, very hairy. Tim is also a Masters level Protoss player, significantly lower on the bracket than ReasN, however, close enough that it's definitely going to be a game worth watching, rest assured. Alkaline Waste is also a very dynamic map, very, very favoring, actually, to Protoss. Lots of chokes, making it so that if you take down these destructible debris, you can position your death ball right here and kind of accurately predict and protect every single one of your expansions, making it so that you have a very central location so that you can react very quickly to the drops and harassment that is prone to Terran, and especially ReasN. I mean, ReasN has definitely showed us that he can harass. If you saw that first game with him, and actually, I think, yeah, this is the third game for him. Yeah. I want to apologize for the last replay that we cast. I misspoke a little bit on some of the typical build openings. I looked up one, I think it was Huck did, and it was actually a very typical build order on that, so I definitely miscounted exactly what they were doing, and it was very, very clever what ReasN was doing with the transition and being kind of defensive, getting that combat shield out there, not being very aggressive to get the stem first and whatnot, but I was pretending like it was a little bit more irregular than it actually was, and so I've learned my lesson, and I learned something, and I wanted to share that with you guys because it's a learning process. It's all about sharing, and so I'm sharing my wisdom with you. And this probe is going to be sharing with ReasN that he knows exactly what's going on inside his base. We see that early refiner. We see the reactor going down on the barracks, so we're probably going to be seeing a handful of Reapers popping out here just to see exactly what Tim is getting up to back at home. The supply depot coming up the wall off just to trap that little probe in there because there's nothing going on that's clever inside here. There's no factory that's super early, throwing down a tech lab on it with a starport right on top of it. No, this is a very typical opening from ReasN, and he'll probably be going for a fast expand behind it. On the back of this, Tim is getting up his own command center, or command center, also known as a cybernetics core. It's CC is what it is. It's a CC for the cybernetics core. And he's double tapped his gas with 3 workers in each, which tells me he's going to have a lot of extra gas, and he's got a frisky probe heading off into the top right hand side, probably going to be throwing on a proxy pylon, probably going to be doing some sort of hidden tech up there, and we only know what, we have no idea what's actually going to be going up there. Extra factory being added onto the top left hand side of ReasN's home base. You can see the double marines are going to be popping out there and just going to be taking care of that probe. The probe welcoming death, charging down on top of those marines before scurrying off to the side. But no, he's going to get cut down in a handful of seconds. Still no second gas for ReasN, so he'll probably be expanding once all things said and done. He proceeds down that 1-1-1 opening. We see a Twilight Council popping out from Tim, a very cool choice. This could be transitioning him into Dark Shrine. We do not see a robotics facility coming out, so it's probably not going to be a warp gate drop in, but it could just be a blink all in. We have absolutely no idea. He is still accumulating an extra special amount of gas, but he does this. No, it's not even a probe. He's not even going to be throwing on a Nexus down there. I do not know what Tim is going to be doing, but it's certainly looking like the blink all in. It is. Okay, so yeah, he is getting out that blink. We see a lot of Marines are out there right now, but we don't have any form of tech started for ReasN. He doesn't have that combat shield just yet. The 1-1-1 is almost completed. The starport is going to be popping up, but we don't see an add-on being added to that factory, so probably not a Banshee opening. Probably for the wisest. Well, with the blink all in coming out, we're going to be dealing with a lot of stalkers in a very short period of time, which means that any sort of Banshee that could be coming out is going to be cut to pieces and incredibly quickly. Single Widowmine accompanied with a small push, not really designed to kill, more to punish an aggressive or greedy Protoss. But man, ReasN's going to be very surprised whenever he gets up here, pushes back these 2 stalkers, and sees there's no Nexus up on that high ground. The Marines are pushing in completely unupgraded, and the Widowmine aggressively positioning himself just at the top part of that ramp and pushing back those stalkers, and he's going to be like, what? There's supposed to be something here, and I don't know what. And so he's totally missing that Nexus. He's going to be very, very worried because he's only seeing 2 stalkers, and that is it. He's going to be terrified of just what could be going on inside there. In fact, has he scanned at all? No, he has no idea what is inside his enemy base. I really wouldn't be surprised to see a scan in a handful of seconds. There goes the scan. Just seeing a robotics facility building something and a handful of gates. So yeah, he's probably thinking, if I saw this, I'd think a Dark Templar. But Blink Stalker doesn't come immediately to mind. However, it could definitely be something that, you know, ReasN's very high masters. He's got a very good game sense. He's got a better game sense than me. And so he is going to be pulling back. He's going to be very nervous about what exactly he saw. Despite taking the command center on the low ground, I suspect that he's going to be transitioning over to a little bit more of a defensive posture. I'd love to see him throw down a tech lab or two on these barracks, really start up on that tech, really get out combat shield as quickly as possible. However, even if he started it right now, it's going to be too late because Tim is pushing out with his blink stalkers. His stalkers have that blink upgrade, the proxy pylon adding in a handful extra of those stalkers, and the observer is coming out with them. Where is it? Just to the south side of that third, and he's going to be scouting the high ground, and you can see where he's queued up right here, blinking up onto the high ground, getting those stalkers into the enemy base. We can see the double bunkers and the widow mines are defensively positioned. However, their defense is just the opposite of what it needs to be. We don't see any detection there, which is, I don't know. He doesn't even know about the Twilight Council, whatever. Maybe he was thinking like it was Oracle or something like that. Regardless, the stalkers blink up to the high ground, the very slow Marines without their stem, having to chase them down, but with the blink, Tim is just doing top drawer control with those stalkers, blinking them out of the detection range of those Marines, and also keeping them very safe away from the widow mines. And that observer is going to be scouting out those widow mines. Stem and combat shields start up right on top of each other as ReasN begins to get out the tech necessary to deal with this harassment. However, poking at the front door, the two bunkers were done. However, only 2 Marines are there, not saturating those bunkers at all, and both of the bunkers go down in a hail of fire from those stalkers. And again, the really just good unit control from Tim, keeping those stalkers alive while doing a lot of extra damage. 800 resources lost to 50. The single probe that we saw is the loss. He hasn't lost a single stalker yet, and he's doing so much damage. Tim really showing us how powerful Blink Immortals can be. Blink Stalkers. Bring Immortals would be terrified. There goes the scan to pick off the observer, and the once again the Blink Stalkers are beginning to fall. Just you know. But they're still being controlled incredibly well, is what I'm trying to say. The Blink Stalkers have begun to fall, though. Very, very weak right now. All their shields have been taken out, at least partially. And some of them have some heavy hull damage. However, ReasN has lost a significantly larger amount just because of this Blink Stalkers. There is another observer, I thought, but not evidently aggressively positioned. Doesn't want to lose it just yet. Is this an observer? Yeah, it is. Okay, great. The observer is pushing out. Maybe he's going to be thinking about poking into the third once again, but combat shield is done, and stem is going to be poking out in just a handful of seconds for ReasN. And once that stem is done, man, he's going to be able to chase down these stalkers. He's going to be able to get right on top of them despite the blink, and that is going to force Tim back. Now, what does Tim have? Tim's got an excellently saturated natural, and ReasN's got nothing. He's got 2 SCVs right in there right now. The observer is poking forward once again very aggressively. Will there be another scan? ReasN's going to have to notice that small little ripple from that observer, so it's a very difficult thing to do, but I want to put a Masters level player to do that. Charge being researched right now, so Tim is definitely using the high tech and expensive tech that he's taken to the best of his advantage. Once again, blinking back, sniping out a handful of those Marines. But now that stem is done, Tim is going to be a little bit more careful. He's got to be realizing that his situation is a little bit more precarious. What with those Marauders out on the field? There goes the stem. The Marines and Marauders pushing forward, instantly melting that pylon. Wow, it dies so incredibly fast. And the Blink Stalkers get away. I mean, once again, he's been so incredibly cost-effective. Twice the number of resources lost. His natural is fully saturated. He's got a nice volume of Stalkers to fall back upon. But this is an intimidating push. We don't see any Colossus out. There's no form of AoE at all to deal with the sheer number of Marines and Marauders. So these guys are going to be able to stem and push in here and do a lot of extra damage. But with Charge, oh no, Charge is not even near done. These Zealots are just going to be able to bully them and push them back. There goes Photon Overcharge. That might be enough to stem the tide of ReasN, pushing with a very nice concave, engaging in the choke. A lot of those Stalkers not being able to engage. But no, with the Photon Overcharge there, shelling down a lot of artillery fire. Yes, the Mothership Core goes down, but ReasN has to retreat, content that he managed to take down that Mothership Core. Getting a snipe down on top of one of those medevacs. Very ballsy from Tim, just because those Marauders and Marines can turn around, do a lot of damage to those Stalkers. Both players playing very coy. Tim succeeded in sniping every single one of those medevacs. A massive win for him, because he doesn't have to worry about about a counter drop. He doesn't have to worry about a drop from these Marauders just picking them up and then dropping them off and God knows where, doing so much extra damage. Huge play by Tim. Cannot tell you how important that was. Even though he lost a lot of stalkers from doing that, that was actually really, really cool. And check this out, a dark shrine being constructed right now. That's not a dark shrine. This is a dark shrine. A dark shrine being constructed because his Twilight Council has still gone unscouted this entire time. DTs will be popping out probably about at the same time the 1-1 finishes. And so 1-1 has been started. I mean, Combat Shield Stem, good infrastructure back at home for ReasN. He's got a lot of barracks out there, but he's not using his factory anymore. He's deciding to land it. Getting out those medevacs. Doesn't have to worry about Vikings just yet, just because of the lack of Colossus, but probably thinking about getting his own 3rd CC. He doesn't have a 3rd CC yet, does he? No. So ReasN needs to get that 3rd CC down, start thinking about taking a 3rd himself, because like I said, this base really favors 3-base play. And Tim's probably thinking about it himself. I mean, he's in a very commanding position. His tech is very, very high. His own +1/+1 is on the way, but he's got Blink and Charge, and that is equal to, if not better than, Combat Shield and Stem, in my humble opinion. The sheer number of medevacs is back up to an intimidating force, so he is capable of dropping that in. Wow, so lucky. ReasN scanning up on the high ground, seeing the Dark Templar as it was leaving the base. He's going to know that he has to worry about that. At the same time, the Dark Templar pushing in. ReasN's force is going to get cleaned up in the bottleneck here as the Immortal shuts down a lot of extra damage. And at the same time, Tim has 2 DTs in the enemy base, is going to be coming in, trying to take down that SCV that is constructing the missile turret there. Another one hiding in the darker recesses of that natural. This Dark Templar is just going to town on all of those SCVs. 6 workers killed total. And there goes the scan. So that DT is cleaned up, but the second that scan expires, DT number 2 is going to be able to come in there and do some more economic damage. At the same time, Tim is, it looks like he's moving out to take that 3rd. Yeah, he's got that Nexus already rung up, and he's taking down the destructible debris. So he's going to secure his own economic advantage. Really nice game sets there from ReasN to see the small ripple of that Dark Templar moving out there, and Blob has had enough. He realizes that those DTs, that just wasn't enough. Maybe Blob was the DT. That'd be a terrible name for the DT. Did you see that? A Templar Archive also coming out for Tim. So he is just abusing the fact that his Twilight Council has just never been scouted. This is such a great. I love it whenever people do that. They do some sort of blink all in, or an all in that requires a specific type of tech, and they don't let that tech stagnant. He's using every single one of those tech paths to the fullest of his advantage. He's getting those Dark Templars out. He's getting those High Templars out. He's getting Colossus out. He's gotten Charge and Blink. This is absolutely fantastic. And his position is so commanding, and ReasN knows it. He's pushing out for all in, and this force is not going to be enough. I can tell you right now, this is just not. The sheer number of Marauders and Marines and SCVs all together like this really looks intimidating, but that is a lot of SCVs, and they're going to die very, very quickly to any form of AoE. But I guess what form of AoE is there? There are Archons being added into the mix. And yeah, the observers are very excellently positioned, realizes this large push is coming, and everything is beginning to coagulate in the center of this map. The Colossus is out on the field, and those 2 Archons are going to be doing so much damage to all of these guys. Immediately, 2 kills. Watch that Archon. Oh my goodness, so many kills on that Archon. All the SCVs just melt away, and ReasN is left with a force a quarter of the size of what it needs to be in order to clean up what Tim has. And Tim has his 3rd base taken. It's going to get resaturated immediately by these probes once they can feel secure enough to actually go back into work. The medevac zips on down there to scout out that Nexus, and he realizes that ReasN is pretty much done. He's at half of the supply. He's going to tap out in just a handful of seconds, but kudos to him to keep fighting this entire time. You've got a standing force left. You want your standing force to be completely taken care of before you tap out, because there's always that chance for the perfect flank. However, I don't think Tim's going to give him that chance. Stutter Step Nitro is definitely top drawer. However, the aggressive Blink and the Colossus right on top of those Marines just completely melt them away. Both of the Archons, 16 kills, 9 kills for them. That is just brutal. ReasN, good games out of it, and it was a great game. It was absolutely fantastic. Really great play from Immortal to realize that this map is absolutely massive and that you can totally hide some tech in there. And I love it how he just transitioned seamlessly into another form of harassment, getting those Dark Templars out there that are so often relegated to just some harassment, some cheese. You know, anytime you see DTs, oh, you're such a cheesy player. No, this was perfect. This was a great transition, and reason, you know, it's so hard to win against something that was so well executed. So I definitely feel like Tim won the game, and it wasn't that ReasN lost the game because of poor control or something like that. Because this game was great. This was a fantastic game, and I believe that's game 4. So we're moving on to game 5. This is an all-kill format, so I believe that Tim is going to be there for round 2 for him to see if he can swing this back into a winning side for WeWannaWinClan. So just stop by, you know, see the next replay, whatever. I will see you guys there. I am Big and Scary.